It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Worldwide Sports Radio presents the Haystack Show. With Mike Guido.
And here we go. It's a Thursday. And it's the Haystack on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, WorldwideSportsRadio.com. Mike Guido, Evan Mazza, my producer. It's good to have you in here on a Thursday at about 11:30. Absolutely loaded today. Plenty to go over. I do this every single year. I do it the week before the conference championship games in the NFL. I did it last year as well, where I'm going to rank the 4 possible Super Bowl matchups, because I think in reality, I think that this year there are 2 or 3 real good possibilities. I think if we get one matchup, we all should be disappointed. Okay, I'll tell you which one that is. So I'm going to rank them 1 through 4. I'm going to tell you which matchups we should be looking for into the Super Bowl. We play buy or sell at the end of the show today. We're absolutely loaded. Excuse me, I don't know what it is, Evan. I've been burping all morning. I've been...
Breakfast?
I guess, yeah. Today was my last day on steroids, so I think it's kind of hitting me a little bit. I took my last steroid this morning, and those things, I swear to God, they are the worst things on earth. They're terrible. Like, I take one, and like every time you take it, you feel like garbage. It's awful.
Feels like you want to just lay down on the couch.
Oh my God! Like your head hurts, your arms hurt, you get heartburn. I'm like, Jesus! I'm like, this is miserable.
But then you gotta wake up the next morning, walking through a door like this.
Yeah, so, yeah. So not only do I feel like crap, but now I can't play Major League Baseball. What the hell's wrong with this stuff? Why does this stuff exist? My foot feels better though. I mean, that's a positive.
That's good.
All right, let's begin with this. So there are times in life where the environment you're in matters more than anything else. Is your household healthy? Do you have parents who encourage you? Does your partner support you and drive you? Same thing goes for your job. Does your boss promote a solid workspace? Does the office feel like an office, or does it feel safer and less stressful? Production will always increase when the building is good. When the morale is better, production is always going to increase. Any business owner is going to tell you that. The factory is faster and more productive when all the machines are oiled. That's the fact of the matter. The Tennessee Titans are that well-oiled machine right now. They are the Washington Nationals of the NFL. They've made playoff appearances, but have had the heartbreak and they've fallen short, and they've gone through all of that adversity. But this time feels different. It does. So why? Culture. Mike Vrabel is the sole best motivator in the NFL, and there is no second place. There is not. Okay, during the broadcast of the game, I heard from one of the announcers that the Titans have taken the reflection of their head coach. And they absolutely have. They have completely mirrored the image of what Mike Vrabel is as a head coach. Okay, Tennessee is fiery, they're hungry, and they're playing with more passion than anyone in football right now. Not even close. Okay, and that's the most important part to their success. Okay, this is the best part of the Titans, actually. This has nothing to do with talent. The Titans have some, but they are not a roster that is just flooded with gifted athletes. They're not, or insane football players. They're just not. They have one gifted athlete, Derrick Henry. He's their gifted athlete. But their quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, has a combined 160 passing yards over the first 2 playoff games. He's thrown for 160 yards in 2 playoff games, and they're 2-0. Like, They're not flooding with Tannehill is not torching anybody. Okay, he's asked to make 7 throws a game, and he does it. That's all he's asked to do. Make 7 throws a game. There you go. He does. But the Titans are not blowing anyone away with their talent. Okay, they're out-harding you. Okay, they're playing more physical. They have unmatched passion. That's what's winning. This Titans team has a championship feel to it. It does. I mean, you're looking at them, and it's just like, God, they are just playing harder than anybody else. Okay, also, think about this. Have we noticed that the Titans locker room is extremely quiet? That doesn't mean that they don't have personalities, but they're extremely quiet. And the entire organization is quiet. Okay, they're so quiet we forget about them sometimes. The Titans. God, I totally forgot about them. They're so quiet that we forget about them. Like, we forget they exist at certain points. Okay, public service announcement to all dysfunctional teams and obnoxious players. Take note that the Titans have taken out the Patriots and the Ravens, both on the road, back-to-back, because of their building, because of the feel in their room. Okay, the Titans aren't more talented than Baltimore. Definitely not. The talent discrepancy between Baltimore and Tennessee is actually ridiculous. Baltimore, as far as talent, one of the best in the NFL. Tennessee doesn't even stack up even close to them. Okay, Tennessee's not more talented than New England. They're not. No, Tennessee doesn't have more talent than New England. Okay, they have healthy energy, and that equals success. It's that simple. It really is. Ask any coach or player. If practice is energetic and guys are picking each other up and dapping up everybody and all of that stuff, the feeling on game day translates. That's what happens. Mike Vrabel is the dad in the room that kind of, he thrusts you into the real world and says, go get him. And then when you do go get him, he's right there patting you on the back, giving you a high five. He's right there with you. Okay? I've been told multiple times by multiple people that I'm a better broadcaster when my energy shows. Okay? That's lesson 1 in sports radio, is to never let your energy waver. Okay? I'm not here to give you my problems. I'm here to entertain you. My energy, I have a responsibility to maintain energy. Well, the energy is there because of the environment I'm in. Okay, the people I work for believe in me. The energy in the building is good. All of that helps me become a better broadcaster and put out a better product. That's it. The nearly divorced couple, think about this. The nearly divorced couple usually puts their kids in therapy faster. And they just do. Okay? That's not by coincidence. Dysfunctional household normally translates to instability later. It just does. Okay? If you're dealing with dysfunction in your house, it weighs on a kid's mind. Okay? They start failing tests and they start, having emotional issues, and they have trouble in relationships later in life because they have this thing in their mind where the instability hurt them. It's not by coincidence. That's a fact of life. Ask any psychologist ever. Okay, young kid, dysfunctional family, mental instability later. They usually go through therapy. They usually have to go through some sort of intervention or something along those lines. Okay, it's perfectly normal. This is not a shot on anybody that's done that. I've gone through it. Everybody's gone through it. Evan, I'm sure, has gone through it. I mean, everybody goes through it in their life. Okay, so let's recognize that the Titans are on a super run right now. Okay, and it's going to take something very serious to stop them because, great culture like this is incredibly hard to stop. Mike Vrabel has put together a feel in that building that translates to incredible production on the field, okay? And it shows. It is the Tennessee Titans, whatever they have right now, is unbelievable, okay? They're not out-talenting teams. They are out-hearting teams. They're out-physicaling teams. That's the fact of the matter. Titans are not more talented, but the energy and the culture in the building is just simply better. Okay, so let's shift to this, because this was a really interesting hire, and I hear a lot of mixed reviews on this. Some people like it, some people don't. I fall into the category of people that I lean towards the category of people that don't really like it. So Kevin Stefanski, the old offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, got hired by the Cleveland Browns to be their next head coach. Okay, listen, I did this a couple of days ago where the Browns had interviewed 8 people. I'm going to narrow it down to 7 because here we go again. Because Mike McCarthy already got hired by the Dallas Cowboys. So they interviewed Robert Saleh, they interviewed Greg Roman, Eric Bieniemy, Kevin Stefanski, Jim Schwartz, Brian Dable, and I'm missing one, Josh McDaniels, right?
Jim Schwartz.
I already said Jim Schwartz.
Okay.
See, it helps if you pay attention, buddy.
I thought I didn't hear you say Jim Schwartz.
I'm kidding. All right, but they interviewed 7 guys. I thought Kevin Stefanski was the 5th best candidate. Based on what I graded, Kevin Stefanski was the 5th best hire. That's as far as I need to go. Okay, I rated everybody. I gave everybody a grade from 1 to 5 in 5 different categories. So out of 25, Kevin Stefanski ranked 5th. Okay, it was leadership, accolades, scheme. It was adaptability and player development. Those things. Okay, Kevin Stefanski ranked 5th. Here's the thing where I don't like it. All right, Kevin Stefanski, in the eyes of a lot of people, and I understand this, he's a very attractive option for head coach. He's a very attractive guy to have in your organization. He's advanced. He's really analytical. He's kind of a younger guy. Kevin Stefanski is attractive in that sense. Hear me out on this. I listened to the press conference, the introductory press conference with Kevin Stefanski and the Cleveland Browns. Guys, this doesn't sound like a head coach. Okay? Think about what happened in every... And people don't think that this matters. It matters. Okay? I know that press conferences are there to highlight the head coach, make everybody look good. I'm not that naive. Okay? But you can sense personality traits automatically when the guy who's getting hired is talking. Okay? Ron Rivera, in his press conference with the Redskins, sounded strong. He sounded like a disciplinarian because he is a disciplinarian. He's a military guy with a military background. He takes no crap. He coached Cam Newton. He got Cam Newton to a Super Bowl. I mean, you heard that in Ron Rivera. Okay, same thing went with Mike McCarthy. We were so worried about Mike McCarthy being rigid, not likable, all of that stuff. And he's at the desk with Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones at the Cowboys press conference, cracking jokes, being funny, being relatable, being kind to reporters, talking highly of the players, telling people how he's adapted and how he's changed and how he spent all this time on reflection. That's what you saw out of Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy sounded like a football coach. Okay, Matt Rule, you were going to run through a wall with Matt Rule. Same thing with Joe Judge. When Joe Judge got hired by the Giants, everybody in the New York media was saying, God, Joe Judge sounds like he's the head coach in a movie. He sounds so good. Joe Judge sounded like a football coach. Old school mentality. We're going to play physical. We're going to do this. And everybody's like, yeah, we're going to play physical. And Matt Rule is just like, you know what? This is a great organization. I'm so great for the opportunity to be here. We're going to build something special. Matt Rule was exciting. He was lively. And then you heard Kevin Stefanski, and you heard, we're gonna put the work in. I'm gonna get to work with Baker. I'm excited to work with Baker, and we'll see where this goes. Guys, do we not sense the difference here? Okay, Kevin Stefanski didn't and I got nothing against the guy. Okay, I could be completely wrong on this. Kevin Stefanski could be the most brilliant offensive mind since Bill Walsh. Kevin Stefanski did not sound like a head coach. Okay? He sounds like he's going to get put in a room with all of those personalities. Baker, Odell, Jarvis Landry, Myles Garrett. He's going to be put in a room with all of those personalities and get trampled. That's what he sounded like. Okay, here's the one thing that I liked about Freddie Kitchens, is Freddie Kitchens took no crap from anybody. He caused his own crap, but he took no crap from anybody. Okay, here's the thing that I like about Ron Rivera and guys like Mike McCarthy, is that even though that they're not dealing with as many personalities in Washington or in Dallas, they're disciplinarians. Okay, they take the job seriously. They are guys that don't allow for any unnecessary noise. Okay, Ron Rivera didn't deal with that in Carolina. He didn't deal with that. He said, Cam, put up or shut up. Okay, and it worked. It got him to a Super Bowl. And then Cam started getting hurt and not playing well, and that's when things started going down the tubes for Carolina. Okay, same thing happened with Green Bay. Mike McCarthy dealt with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, two big personalities, two superstar quarterbacks. And what are we looking at here? The dysfunction started happening when Aaron started saying, listen, you've got to adapt. And Mike McCarthy made it a point in the Cowboy press conference to say, listen, I've reflected. I realized that my offense and my thought process got stale, so I'm implementing an analytics team, and I'm going to shift the way that I think. I'm going to shift the way that I am. And it showed. Okay, everything that I would imagine about Kevin Stefanski, because this is exactly my evaluation on him. I said, he's going to be a great offensive mind. He's going to be hyper analytical. He's going to be really advanced. He's going to know exactly what he's doing schematically. He's going to be good at developing players. But he's going to get trampled. I never took him for much of a leader. And that kind of sounds like I'm going to be right. Okay, listen, the one thing that I need to understand about what the Browns are doing with their hire is I think it's pretty obvious. The Browns didn't need a super smart guy. Okay, the Browns needed a guy that's going to, all right, this is how things are going to be around here. And I don't think that they're getting that guy. They're going to get the super smart, hyper analytical guy. Like I said, Kevin Stefanski could be the smartest guy in the room. But this doesn't sound like it's the right hire. If Baker Mayfield acts up in a huddle or acts up in practice, you think Kevin Stefanski to be like, Baker, why don't you just take it easy, man? Come on. Baker's going to be all fiery. Come on, coach. You think Kevin Stefanski going to be like, all right, Baker, give me a break? No. Any confrontation that Kevin Stefanski has with a player, he's going to lose. Okay? He's not going to have the authority because he doesn't sound like the authority. He doesn't look like the authority. Okay? Kevin Stefanski doesn't have the leadership feel to him. And I could be dead wrong on this. But with all of these coaching hires that I saw over this past stretch, right? Ron Rivera, Mike McCarthy, Joe Judge, Matt Rule, they all sounded like leaders. They all sounded like guys that are generals, and they're going to lead their troops into battle, and they're going to lead them deep, and they're going to win, goddammit. Kevin Stefanski sounded like, I'm going to do my best to make the best of my opportunity here. That's not what the Browns needed. Okay? And I don't know who the better option was, but I can tell you, listen, Josh McDaniels, not my first hire, doesn't take any crap from anybody. Robert Saleh doesn't take any crap from anybody. Eric Bieniemy doesn't take any crap from anybody. You needed a leader. You didn't need a guy that was hyper analytical and might be afraid to step in front of the star quarterback and say, "You're not the boss, I am." Okay. Coming up next, there's a coaching hire in the NFL that I think we're overlooking how perfect it actually is. I'll tell you exactly who that is next on the Haystack and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You're listening to the Haystack Show on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Good to have you back, Mike, Evan, on a Wednesday. It's the Haystack and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. So I think this coaching hire is going under the radar, but it's so good and so perfect for what they need. And I understand why it's not getting a crazy amount of coverage. It's Carolina, okay? It isn't New York City. Matt Rule getting hired was a story for about an hour. Okay, it's also kind of ironic how Matt Rule was who the Giants wanted, but they didn't want to match the offer. All I'm going to say for the Giants front office is that they better hope Joe Judge works. Okay, but I don't think people realize how great of a hire Matt Rule is for Carolina. The fit is absolutely perfect. Think about it. What is Matt Rule's reputation as a coach? He's a builder. He's an architect. Okay, he's rebuilt 2 absolutely lost college football programs. That's what he's done. Okay, he took Temple, and they're never good, from 2-10 to 10-3. And he took Baylor from 1-11 to 11-3 and reverting them back to a top 10 program in the country. That's what he's done. He's rebuilding programs at the same pace as Urban Meyer, and Urban's a legend. Could you say that he's an urban legend, Evan? Okay, I'll stop. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I already making dad jokes, and I'm not even a dad. Thank you. I deserve that. You're right. But Carolina's situation is tailor-made for Matt Rule. It is. They have talent on the roster already, and it's good talent. Christian McCaffrey, Brian Burns, DJ Moore, guys like that. But they also have a lot of work to do. It's great, especially at quarterback. Cam Newton is not going to survive beyond next year with the Panthers. Okay, he might not survive this offseason. Okay, so Matt Rule gets to draft whatever he wants this year, and depending on what happens at quarterback, he'll have his choice of quarterbacks from this year or next year. Okay, that includes Trevor Lawrence, who's the best quarterback prospect we've seen in decades. Justin Fields, who's remarkable. Okay, Tua, Justin Herbert. Okay, whoever else. He can virtually have his pick, whatever he wants. Carolina is putting him in a position to build, and that's what he's good at. He's in a great situation there. Okay, that's how you succeed in life. Matt Rule is the perfect example of the general rule of thumb. Okay, the general rule of thumb is when you're picking a career, you take something that you love and fuse it with something that you're good at. Okay, I loved sports. I like broadcasting too, I get it. But I loved sports, but I'm good in front of a microphone. Ultimately, I'll let you be the judge of that. But that's how I became a broadcaster. I wanted to become a sports broadcaster. Okay? And no, that doesn't necessarily mean, but that's how you find success in life. That doesn't necessarily mean that doctors, love hospitals. It doesn't mean that. But they could love helping people. Okay? And they could be good in high pressure situations like surgeries. I mean, that's the way that this works here. Okay? Matt Rule is going to surgically repair the Panthers because he can. He has the freedom to. Okay, the Carolina front office said, okay, here's what we have. Go build something great. And that's exactly what Matt Rule is going to do because that's what he's good at. Okay, people will tell me, well, he would have had that chance to rebuild the Giants too. I get that, but only to a certain extent. Okay, think about this for a second. The Giants already drafted their quarterback. Daniel Jones looked good last year, and he's a Manning guy. Okay, he's not going anywhere unless he completely busts in 3 years. He's just not going anywhere. Okay, yeah, he can build that, but you'd be pinning him to a quarterback that he might not want. Okay, but let's be honest about the Matt Rule to New York thing. We never had the mindset of rebuilding when we made that connection. We never thought, the first thing that popped into our mind was never, he's going to rebuild the Giants. No. We all liked Matt Rule to the Giants because he's from Long Island. That's why we liked it. He's from here. Okay, it would have been a story to root for. Okay, the first thing that came to our minds was not how he would rebuild the dysfunctional Giants. Okay, he gets to completely disassemble the Panthers. Okay, he wouldn't get to do that necessarily in New York. He wouldn't. So I understand that this is flying under the radar a little bit because I get it. It's small market. We didn't necessarily think of it at first. It was the job nobody was really paying attention to. We were all focused on, who's getting the Cowboy job. Who's going to be the coach of the Cowboys? Who's going to go to the Giants? Who's going to be the coach of the Cleveland Browns? Like that. That's who we were focused on. We didn't care about Carolina. Yeah, throw whoever you want there. It's Carolina. Who cares? Okay, but Matt Rule ending up here is actually perfect. Okay, the Panthers are going to be really happy with him going forward because he is exactly what they needed. A guy who can build. He's an architect. He can build from the ground up. He can bring in a quarterback. He is Matt Rule is the perfect fit, and it was the best possible fit for Carolina, and it was the best possible fit for him. Okay, let's go to the news with our interim Big J journalist, Evan Mazza, here on a Thursday.
Well, the draft's coming up after the Super Bowl, and already we're getting some news about who's going to work out or not for teams, and already Tua Tagovailoa will hold a 40-minute session. This is according to his agent, Lee Steinberg, who Tagovailoa hired last week. Tagovailoa is expected to hold about a 40-minute session, which he makes 60 to 80 throws in front of scouts in April. That session could happen at Alabama's Pro Day in March. If not, he could hold a separate Pro Day closer to the draft, which begins April 23rd in Las Vegas. His agent, Lee Steinberg, says the intention there is the ball never touches the ground. I think he's going to blow away teams in that process. Tua Tagovailoa underwent surgery back in November to repair a dislocated hip and associated fracture. Steinberg said Tuesday that doctors continue to be quite sure he will make a full recovery. So going to be
they're actually expecting him to be back to work out.
Yeah.
Which is incredible to me because those hip injuries are not easy.
This is a quick recovery.
Yeah, really quick. Like if he's able to work out for teams at the at the combine, private workouts, whatever he's going to do, he's going to be able to throw and everything. I mean, that's amazing. This is why I said
it's a big step up.
This is why I said when he got hurt, I was thinking to myself, is there a possibility he slips? Yeah, but first of all, I think he's going to have enough recovery time to work out, and if teams still see the special in him without the injury, they still see how special he could be. They're going to take him in the top 5 anyway. Like I really don't think Tua slips past the Dolphins at 5. I really don't think so.
No, he's not.
They're gonna Burrow's going to go number 1. Chase Young is going to go number 2. I would imagine Jeffrey Okudah, the corner from Ohio State, is going to go 3 to Detroit. The Giants are going to take a mix of, and then if there's no trades, the Giants are going to take a mix of either Isaiah Simmons or Jerry Jeudy or Andrew Thomas or Jedrick Wills, one of the offensive linemen, whatever. And then the Dolphins are going to be right there for Tua.
If he works out. Now, again, Miami has 2 first-round picks. Actually,
they have 3.
Three. Yeah,
they have 3 first-round picks.
If Tua continues to show improvement and continues to show that he's going to be healthy, then yeah, Miami absolutely should take him.
Oh yeah,
5. Absolutely.
If you think he's going to be special, take him at 5. Okay, and that doesn't just go for the Dolphins. If the Chargers think that he's special, take him at 6. If he falls there, if you think Tua is special and you want him to be your franchise quarterback, take him wherever you need him. So that goes for Miami, that goes for the Chargers, that goes for Carolina.
And a lot of it will depend on how he looks in these workouts. How does he look? How's his movement? They're going to focus on everything, every detail of his hip, of his injury, mobility, his arm, how it's affecting him. They're going to focus on everything. And if it comes out well, then he'll still be in top 10, top 5. But
it's going to be just like anything else. Like, he still has to perform in those workouts. They're not going to say, oh, well, he's hurt. No, if he's working out, he's putting himself out there to perform well.
Right.
Which, either way, I think it's a good idea. I think you have to do that. But here's the thing about this that people disagree with me on. I said a while ago that I never saw the special from Tua. Like, I think Tua's going to be a really good NFL player. Like, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Like, it's not like I don't like him, but that's all I do. That's all I feel about him. I like Tua. I'm not in love with Tua. I don't see the special out of Tua Tagovailoa. I just don't. Okay, I see special out of Joe Burrow. I see special out of Trevor Lawrence. There are glimpses of special out of Justin Herbert. I don't really see the special with Tua. You know, like, when I broke it down because you know that I do this. I watch and break down quarterbacks like nobody. That's all I do. I don't have a life, right? So I break down quarterbacks based on traits. So that's football IQ, accuracy, arm strength, athleticism, all of those things. If you looked at every quarterback in the class, Tua doesn't have a single category where he's the best at that one thing. Now, he's really good. He probably ranks really high amongst most or all of those things, but he isn't the best at something. He's not the most accurate. That's Joe Burrow. He doesn't have the strongest arm. That's Jacob Eason. He's not the most athletic. That's Jalen Hurts or Jordan Love.
Well, Jacob Eason and Jalen Hurts are not going to be picked before Tua Tagovailoa. Tua's going to be picked well before them.
Oh, no, I'm with you. But what I'm saying is that there isn't anything that Tua is best at. Size and athleticism goes to Herbert. Like, you have to look at the traits about Tua. Like, Tua to me is the third best quarterback in this draft. As of right now. And I still get to see him test and work out and everything like that. I get to see how he recovers from the injury. But right now he's the third best quarterback in the draft. Because I have Burrow and Justin Herbert ahead of him.
I would agree with you.
Those are my two guys.
I would agree with you.
Those are my two guys. Then there's Tua. And like I said, I think Tua is going to be a really good player in the NFL. I do. But I think there's more risk with him. And I think he's not... truthfully, I just don't think he's as good as Burrow or Herbert. I just don't. I was really impressed with what Justin Herbert did without that much talent in Oregon.
Oh, I actually think Herbert, I've said before, is the most pro-ready quarterback out of every quarterback in this draft class.
Even more than Joe Burrow.
I think Burrow is close.
Well, Herbert's going to go to a better situation automatically.
Probably, but Burrow is close. Because I love the fact that he doesn't make any mistakes. He's accurate with the football. But in terms of ready for the NFL, Herbert might be the most. Because again, Herbert was going to go last year until he decided to go back to Oregon. He might have been the number 1 overall pick last year if he went last year. I'm really curious. I think Herbert is, because of the success of Joe Burrow, has kind of now, he's not saying going under the radar, but in a way he's kind of saying, yeah, there's Joe Burrow. Oh, wait, now, and there's Justin Herbert. It's not Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert. It's Joe Burrow. Right. And Justin Herbert. Oh, yeah. Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, you get that. Right.
Oh, yeah, Justin Herbert. Oh, yeah,
right.
Tua
Tagovailoa. Right, there is kind of that feeling.
That's kind of what's happened, right?
Right, yeah. Because Joe Burrow has gotten put on this,
Well, he's taken over college football. He's taken over the draft. He's gonna be the number 1 overall pick.
He will be the number 1 overall pick.
We know that a few months in advance. I think I would agree with you. It's right now the quarterback ranks for this draft would be Burrow, Herbert, Tua. I do think Herbert is probably more NFL pro ready, but I think Burrow is going to have a lot to. Burrow and Tua will have a lot to do because again, Burrow's going to Cincinnati, and Tua looks like might be going to Miami. Now, if he goes to the Chargers, that could be interesting because Tua's going to a team that, while having a rookie quarterback. And yeah, there might be some players who might be gone, say Melvin Gordon, etc., and maybe even Keenan Allen. You're still going to a talented football team,
right?
And Justin Herbert, we'll see. I could see it being Dolphins, Chargers, maybe the Colts, maybe Tampa Bay.
I feel like the Colts would have to trade up to get a quarterback.
Sure.
Like, there's not going to be a quarterback available at 13 among those three that I think is going to be worth that pick. Like, Jacob Eason, Jake Fromm, and guys like that are going to be available, but I don't think they're going to be worth that selection. I just don't.
Like, I mean, a big.
I think they're going to be good players, but
a big popular pick for Herbert has been the Oakland Raiders, and
that's stupid. I hate that. I hate that whole thing. I hate that whole.
I mean,
we got to stop with the new quarterback to Oakland thing. Okay, Gruden and Derek Carr get along fine. Give me a break.
It's interesting. Last year I understood it. This year it's kind of strange. Last year I understood it. This year I'm kind of like, no, Carr's fine. I think Carr's not the problem in Oakland. Right? In Oakland, they're trying to build a young team. They're building a team. You know, you've got a nice nucleus with that offense. Josh Jacobs, leading the pack in that offense with the running game. Gruden's playing his brand of football well.
Right.
Their problem is defense. That's the Raiders have to continue to get better on defense.
Right.
I don't know if the Raiders should go for quarterback.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I wouldn't do it.
Last year I would have gotten it. This year I'm kind of like, I don't know.
All right, what's next?
Well, we're going to go back to baseball. The Houston Astros. They're in the process of looking for a new manager after firing A.J. Hinch. They've interviewed. They're looking at John Gibbons, and they have interviewed. They met yesterday with Buck Showalter. Buck Showalter met with the Astros yesterday.
Have you noticed that search for the? Because I've heard about this too, right? The Astros are kind of shooting for old guys. They're shooting for Dusty Baker. They're shooting for Buck Showalter.
Veterans
they were looking at Bruce Bochy. Bochy, I've heard, is not interested at all. I think. Well, Bruce Bochy, I think, sounds like he's going to be retired, and that's just going to be the end of it. And that's fine.
I was going to bring that up in the next news. Bochy does not plan to pursue any current managerial openings right now.
But I think the Astros hiring an older guy is them trying to set an image. You kind of know what I'm saying?
Weather the storm. Just weather the storm,
Well,
try
to an extent, yeah, but like you think about this for a second. The Astros, because younger managers are getting more and more popular, right? Aaron Boone's a younger manager, Brad Ausmus, Gabe Kapler, like Craig Counsell, like all of these younger managers are getting hired. It's a lot of younger guys. Mickey Callaway, yes, exactly. Carlos Beltran. All of these guys they're younger managers, not a lot of experience, but they want more relatable to the players, and that's what they want.
But that's cool. If you hire a young manager to come into this situation, that is a lot to ask for.
Well, here's the thing. The older manager who's been in the game for a long time, Dusty Baker, Showalter, Bruce Bochy. There was another guy that was in there, right? What was the other guy that you mentioned? It was Buck Showalter.
John Gibbons.
And John Gibbons, right. They've been around the game for a long time. They don't have a reputation of cheating. Think about this. Like, do you think that the Astros could be hiring a veteran manager who's got a long track record of success in Major League Baseball because they're saying, all right, let's just say it's Buck Showalter. Buck Showalter's been a part of Major League Baseball for 40 years. I mean, he's been a part of Major League Baseball forever, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a cheater. He is not, if he is anything else, but he is not a cheater. And they're going to bring in a guy that says, listen, now we're going to bring in a manager that definitely won't cheat. And it's going to be an older manager. It's not going to be a younger manager that could have a lapse in judgment, lack of experience, maybe make a mistake. It's going to be the older guy who's seasoned and knows better. You get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's the Astros' primary mindset, because they're not interviewing young guys. The only guy that they are interviewing that I think is kind of young and kind of in-house is Joe Espada, their bench coach.
Yeah.
But
he's in-house.
Everybody else, Showalter, Dusty, these are all older, seasoned, long-time veteran managers.
Guys who they can trust to weather this kind of storm.
Right, exactly. That is exactly where the Astros are going with this.
And I think it's the correct decision. I think if the Mets do decide to fire Beltran, that's probably where the Mets should go too. with Buck Showalter, it's interesting. Buck Showalter, because Showalter has dealt with controversy and stuff within an organization before. When he was hired as manager with the Yankees, George Steinbrenner was just a year off being banned from baseball for paying a gambler to get to dig up dirt on Dave Winfield, and he was permanently banned from baseball for 1990. Showalter became the manager in 1991, and the Yankees were able to compete and get better. Became a playoff team, and then Torre, of course, they let go Showalter in '95. Torre came in '96. They ended up winning 4 or 5 titles.
Right.
4 titles. So it's big to get a manager like that to kind of weather the storm and to kind of get. The Astros are a talented baseball team. This is a talented baseball team.
Yeah.
You just need a manager who can just keep everything calm in the locker room, keep everything no other things happening, and just keep the team winning.
Right.
I think Showalter, Gibbons, Dusty Baker, Showalter, I think would be perfect.
No, it makes sense. Makes sense. I think that's the angle they're going at it from, though. All right, that's the news. Intern Big J journalist Evan Mazza here on a Thursday. Loaded stuff today. So, I got breaking news in 2 avenues. I'll give you the NBA stuff first. So, it is official now. This is according to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski. The Minnesota Timberwolves have traded Jeff Teague, their point guard Jeff Teague, to the Atlanta Hawks in exchange for Allen Crabbe and Travion Graham. I know Travion Graham was starting a couple of games, but so that is a trade happening. Jeff Teague, Travion Graham, and Allen Crabbe involved in a trade between Atlanta and Minnesota. And here's the big one. So this is coming from the New Orleans Police Department. The New Orleans Police Department has issued an arrest. They've issued an arrest warrant accusing Odell Beckham Jr. of simple battery. There's a simple battery arrest warrant issued for Odell after video shows him slapping an officer's buttocks at the college football playoff title game. That is simply unbelievable. The guy can't, seriously. How do you make that decision? Well, I'm going to get into that a little bit later. But that's ridiculous. This whole situation is turning out to be a mess. The money thing, now he's got this. I mean, Odell's going to get arrested. I mean, there's an arrest warrant out for him. Give me a break. All right, who do we have on the phone? We'll take him quick.
We have Nathan from Jackson, New Jersey. Nathan, how you doing, buddy?
How you guys doing? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. What do you have?
All right, I want to talk about real quick. I got a football point and then the baseball and then one basketball, but football. This Odell situation, man. This I don't know when football players are going to learn how to compose themselves and show some respect, because all these news, all these type of news that is towards football, and that somehow these football players need to start acting like putting their life together and start focusing on football instead of doing all this nonsense. So I wonder when they're going to learn to not to do this crazy stuff. But Odell Beckham, he's starting to be like Antonio Brown, but he needs to start being more mature and focusing on the team for the Browns. I think he needs to be more of a leader and not doing all this stuff, especially at a championship game. I obviously it's good to show support for your former college, but not like this, not go to like the extreme. So that's my point for that football point. And for basketball, what do you think? The Brooklyn Kyrie Irving said yesterday that they need more pieces, and basically he called out the team last night. But do you think Kyrie is showing the same personality like he did in Boston, or do you think he's a different Kyrie even after this comment?
It's kind of hard to tell. I mean, Kyrie's barely been around. Kyrie is... it's hard for him to say. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's any different, but it really is hard to tell. Kyrie's missed most of the season. So I wouldn't be able to give you an answer on that because I don't, it's not like I know him personally. I have absolutely no idea what we're supposed to be getting from Kyrie. It doesn't look any different, but again, it's hard to tell. He hasn't played all year.
Yeah. And then for this baseball point real quick, I'm a big Yankee fan, and with all this stuff happening,
Yeah.
there's no excuse now for us to win the World Series because now the Yankees, all they need to do is take advantage of this situation and win the division, just take over the division and win as many games as they can. And we have Garrett Cole on their side, so now with Houston being downgraded and Boston being downgraded, I feel like that the Yankees can fully take advantage now of this opportunity and try to be in the World Series.
Yeah.
Do you think the Yankees have no excuse now? It's a win or bust now season.
Well, I think they probably had no excuse since before this happened. I mean, the window of opportunity seems to be open a little bit more now because of this Astros situation and the thing now going on with the Red Sox and everything. Like it seems like the window of opportunity is opened a little bit, but I would have said, Nathan, that this would have been no excuses anyway. You know, signing Garrett Cole, investing the amount of money that they have in this roster, the amount of young talent they've had, you know, the development of their players, everything like that. I think it makes a lot of sense to say that there would have been no excuses anyway. So to answer your question, yeah, there are no excuses for the Yankees now.
All right, thank you guys. Have a great day.
Nathan, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it. All right, coming up next, I'm going to rank the 4 Super Bowl matchups from best possible matchup to the worst, 1 through 4. I do this every single year. And I believe last year, what did we get last year? Last year, I think we got the 3rd best possible matchup.
Wasn't it the?
I think it was 3rd because
Was it the 3rd? Well, I know number 1 for you was Saints.
Because
Patriots.
it was Saints, Patriots, Chiefs, and Rams.
Chiefs, Rams.
Right. So I was thinking
you wanted the rematch from the regular season game. Right?
Oh, so right. So I think I ranked them last year. I said Patriots and Saints because it was Brady Breeze. That would have been the best, right? The second one I think was Chiefs Rams.
It was because you wanted the rematch.
Because I wanted the rematch and I wanted Young Gun versus Young Gun, right? Goff versus Mahomes.
Uh-huh.
Then I think the third was
Patriots Rams,
and then the last one was Chiefs Saints. Because that one didn't really have a story. And we got the third best. We got Patriots Rams. Lame. All right, so here we go. We'll figure this out right around the corner. Hour 2 next.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Worldwide Sports Radio presents the Haystack Show with Mike Guido.
Here we go. Hour number 2. It's the Haystack on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Worldwide Sports Radio.com. It is so great to have you in. Mike Guido, Evan Mazza, my producer. It is great to have you here on a Thursday. We've had a loaded week. And I do this every single buy or sell is going to be around the corner. The Odell news, I think, that is just breaking now, I think is just unbelievable. We're going to break that down as well. So here we go. I do this every single year, Evan. And last year we got, in my eyes, the third best possible Super Bowl matchup of the 4, right? Between I wanted either Saints, Patriots, or Chiefs, Rams, because I think those matchups would have been way more interesting, way more stories, everything along those lines. So I base this off of, the storylines, entertainment value, the quality of the matchup. Is it going to be a good game? I'm going to rank this, the 4 possible Super Bowl matchups for this year. Here we go. So number 4, I think this is the clear-cut worst-case scenario, is the Titans versus the Packers. This is the worst possible scenario. There are no stories. There is no real entertainment value here. You're going to see virtually a struggling Aaron Rodgers at the later part of his career at certain points with a lack of perimeter players against Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and a run-based offense. There's no real storyline here. There's no quarterback storyline. There really isn't anything there. The only storyline that you can possibly make out of this game is Ryan Tannehill going to a Super Bowl in his first year in Tennessee after spending 6 years in Miami. You can make that story if the Titans are in the Super Bowl either way. But the way that I see it right now, Titans-Packers would be the absolute worst-case scenario for a Super Bowl. There's no storyline, Evan. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing interesting about this. There just isn't. It's Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, who are kind of on and off, against Ryan Tannehill and the Titans, who's a run-based offense, kind of the underdog. There's no story. It's just it would be a really I would say really unenthusiastic, not really great or entertaining Super Bowl. That's what it would be for me. That way, that's all it is. All right, number 3. I think the third scenario would be Titans 49ers. Now again, I'm not bored by the Titans. I think the Titans are a cool story. They're the underdog and everything along those lines. But I can't admit, the Titans just aren't that fun to watch. They're really not. Derrick Henry's a cool player. He's really great, big, athletic, all that stuff. But
any team that's kind of, I think any team for a fan is that's not like, especially today's day in the NFL, where it's not throwing the ball everywhere. Titans are an old school football team.
They are.
Run the football.
Defense, run the football. Yeah, that's what they are.
Get the job done with your quarterback.
And there's not a lot of quarterback play. Ryan Tannehill's not going to throw the ball that many times. He's going to throw the ball 15 times the whole game. That's the thing. And I think the 49ers, they just outdo them. The 49ers are better at running the football. They have a better defense. They have a better quarterback. I think they're more schematically well coached. I mean, it's a mismatch to me. 49ers and Titans would be a mismatch. Now, again, this is going to be one of those situations where I think the 49ers in the Super Bowl is going to be interesting, and Ryan Tannehill in Miami, that makes a lot of sense. There's some story value there. But Titans versus 49ers doesn't blow my socks off. It would be the third best matchup of the 4.
I'll tell you, that brand of football, I mean, I love that brand of football.
It would be a lot of defense. It would be a lot of sacks.
But I'll tell you,
not a lot of yards gained.
Yeah, the Titans don't have the quarterback that the Niners and Packers do. But the Niners and Packers have that same brand of football that the Titans do. Run the ball. They do run the ball. They do play hard, tough defense. They win at the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, they don't have – so, yeah, they do play the same brand of football as Tennessee does.
Yeah.
The difference is Garoppolo and Rodgers.
That would, like I said, it wouldn't be a terrible matchup, but the only reason I'm saying this is because it would feel kind of lopsided. Like, I feel like the 49ers are they're definitely better than the Titans. The 49ers are definitely better than Tennessee.
That's why I have the 49ers-Titans as my fourth Super Bowl matchup. Because
you would have that as your least?
I think San Fran would blow them out.
San Fran could blow them out.
I think that game could be 28-10, 30-13. So I think San Fran could blow them out.
All right, number 2. Now this one's actually a little bit interesting. Chiefs-Packers, I think, would actually be a pretty interesting Super Bowl. Because there's a clear-cut storyline here. The new uber-talented quarterback against the older uber-talented quarterback, right? The first guy when we first saw Aaron Rodgers in this league, we were like, oh my God, like that. Nobody can do anything of what Aaron Rodgers can do. So talented, can throw on the run, extremely quick release. He's won multiple MVPs. He has been absolutely phenomenal. I mean, he's won a Super Bowl before. Aaron Rodgers was there are some people who think Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback of all time. I don't understand it, but they base it off talent. He definitely has that talent. And Patrick Mahomes is the new age Aaron Rodgers. He's the guy that's crazy talented, steps into the league, does things that nobody's seen before, left-handed throws, crazy jump passes.
No-look throws.
Patrick Mahomes just does stuff that's like it's unbelievable. But Chiefs-Packers actually is a story. And here's the thing. This could be one of those games where it could be very high-powered. It could be a lot of moving pieces. It'll move quickly. It'll be fast-paced, right? Chiefs-Packers, they're both going to air the ball out quite a bit. They both have star wide receivers. They both have good pass rushes. They match up well. Chiefs-Packers, I think, would actually be a pretty good Super Bowl. That's not that bad. That's a pretty good one. And really entertaining. Mahomes versus Rodgers, new age versus the old age. That would be this year's Brady Breeze.
Well, I got that as my second one too.
I'm with you. And then this one I think is the clear cut number 1. The clear cut number. Chiefs 49ers is the clear-cut number one. That, I think, is just going to be the best game. Like,
It's just the two best teams all year, right, in each conference.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. The Niners probably for the NFC, but Baltimore was better than Kansas City all year.
Well, Baltimore's out.
No, I understand that, but you said all year. They haven't been the best all year. Maybe the Chiefs are better now, but Baltimore was better than them over the course of the regular season.
But the Chiefs are here.
I agree. Here. I agree. So I can say they're better now, but they weren't better all season. Knucklehead, but
they're here, right? They're here.
Yeah, right. I agree with you, but think about this, okay? You get the great schematics from Kyle Shanahan and the Niners offense. You get the running the football, Jimmy Garoppolo, a lot of speed, a lot of running backs, a lot of yards after the catch, a lot of wide receivers. You get George Kittle. First of all, you get a matchup between two of the best tight ends in the game, Travis Kelce and George Kittle. And on top of that also, you get the Chiefs, who are just going to air the ball out every down. I mean, they're just going to throw the ball all over the place. This is Andy Reid versus Kyle Shanahan, older coach versus the brand new, young, great guru offensive mind in Kyle Shanahan. Both good pass rushes. They're both going to be trying to control the clock in their own way. The air attack versus the ground game. This feels like it would be the most entertaining Super Bowl. It'll be a great matchup. Chiefs versus 49ers should be the matchup that we're rooting for. That's the best Super Bowl. So the way I see it, Titans-Packers is at 4. Titans-Niners is at 3. Chiefs-Packers is at 2. And then Chiefs-49ers is the best matchup there. That's 1. What do you think? Now, I think you're in agreement with me. You would switch two bottom.
Yeah, I got Titans-Packers at number 3. I just got Titans-Niners at 4 because I really think that game could be.
You think that would be a blowout?
I think that could be Giants-Ravens, Super Bowl 35, Broncos-Seahawks kind of Super Bowl where one team's just going to completely dominate the other. Again, that's not a shot towards Tennessee. That's just how I think the matchups and the game, how that could possibly go. Titans-Packers, I think, could be competitive. I just think, again, the quarterback matchup of Rodgers and Tannehill.
There's no story there. It's just
I think with Tennessee, I said this when Barrington Grant was on the line yesterday when he was our guest. I do think there is a story with Tennessee because of Tannehill. Because there's a Cinderella story, underdog.
Oh, no, Tannehill has a story going back to Miami. That's cool. But
it's really cool.
Like, I feel like when you look at it, the Tennessee Titans, and this might just be me doubting them again.
I mean, Derrick Henry's the postseason MVP.
Oh, I'm with you. But to me, the Titans don't have an exciting matchup in the Super Bowl. They just don't. The Packers have kind of been a boring team to me all year. Pretty much. And you're getting Aaron Rodgers, who's kind of steadily on the downslope. He lacks perimeter players. It's not going to be very explosive. And I'm with you on the Niners. I think the Niners just outmatch the Titans. The Niners could very easily blow them out.
I think
I'm with you on that.
Titans-Packers, I think, could be pretty competitive, but I just think Rodgers to Tannehill, I do think that's where Rodgers can take over the game. And I think that's where Rodgers could take over the game and win the game for them and win the Super Bowl.
Right.
And the Packers could play the Titans game because they have Aaron Jones. Same way with San Francisco. They have a running attack. They have a balanced running attack with a good offensive line. Ravens had it too, but San Fran and Green Bay also have it. Packers Chiefs, I got number 2. I'm also interested to see the Packers. I'd be interested to see the Packers pass rush against that Chiefs offense and Pat Mahomes. How do they neutralize Pat Mahomes and get after him and limit the damage that Pat Mahomes is going to do? Because again, a great pass rush will always win you a championship. And Niners Chiefs, yeah, I think that's the best Super Bowl matchup. Packers Chiefs would be cool because again, like you said, Rodgers, Mahomes, the present versus the future, or past versus present, whatever you want to call it. Garoppolo for the number 1. Garoppolo, Mahomes would be cool because again, it's the. I just think that
would be the best game.
It would be the best game. I agree with you.
That would be the best game. Niners Chiefs would be a great football game.
And it'd be great to see Shanahan versus Andy Reid, Garoppolo versus Mahomes, and
two great pass rushers. I mean, that's the great receivers, great tight ends. They just match up really well.
That could be. I think that would be a really fun game.
Their offensive lines are structured in the same way. They both have real good tackles and then average interior O-lines. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. I'm going to save this for tomorrow, but I was thinking about, of the 4 teams that are competing for a Super Bowl, who are the teams that feel most confident going into this weekend?
Most confident?
Feel most confident. And who doesn't feel confident?
You know,
I'm telling you.
You know,
it's an interesting list.
I'll tell you, I guess I'm going to spoil it here. I don't think Tennessee's going to win the game, but you got to figure Tennessee's coming to this game really confident.
Maybe.
You've gone to New England.
Maybe.
People doubted you, New England. You're playing because they're playing with house money, right? They're playing with nothing to lose. Sure, the Super Bowl's on the line, but they're playing with nothing to
already
lose.
exceeded the expectations.
Well, of course
they exceeded the expectations when they made the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where the list lies.
You went to New England.
Stop talking because you're going to blow it. you're going to spoil it.
No, I'm not going to spoil it. No,
you're going to spoil it.
Do we share the same? No.
Maybe.
All right. No, I'm just giving my own thing.
Go ahead. All right, go ahead.
I mean, you got.
How do you feel?
With Tennessee, they've gone to New England, pulled it out, went to Baltimore, blew them out, dominated. You got to figure Tennessee would be that team. But I'll be interested to hear what you got to say tomorrow.
Oh boy. So tune in tomorrow. That's what I'm going to do. The teams that are most confident heading into the weekend. That'll be my next list for tomorrow. By the way, no more Foreshore 4, which really stinks.
Sad face.
Really stinks. I don't get. There's no more college games. There's only 2 NFL games this weekend. I mean, I could give you what I would do from a gambling perspective if I were gonna gamble on these games.
What about March Madness?
Well, I mean, it's really early for March Madness.
No, I know. That's what I mean when we get to March Madness.
Well, that'll be cool.
Like the Final Four.
Well, we're gonna make brackets and everything. That's gonna be the cool part. But all right, coming up next, I really want to dive into this Odell situation because this is just a flat out mess. I'll tell you what everybody is missing the boat on with Odell. That's coming up next. It's the Haystack and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You're listening to the Haystack Show on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Great to have you back. Haystack, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Mike, Evan here on a Thursday. So this whole Odell thing's got me really confused. I don't understand this. Like, here's the thing that we're missing the boat on with Odell. So the story with him is that after the national championship game, he obviously went to LSU, so he's obviously excited about the national title, but he was literally, it's not like he was, making it rain or anything like that with money. No, he was literally handing money to players, which obviously you can't do. The entire NCAA is founded on on college athletes not getting paid and not receiving money for that. So how can you not make the conscious effort not to do that? And then the video surfaces today that Odell, while in the LSU locker room, while he's celebrating, slaps a cop right in the ass. And it was a male cop, whatever, but slaps a cop right in the ass. So he's now going to get arrested for slapping a cop in the ass.
The Browns actually just released, about a half hour ago, they released a statement on it. We are aware of the incident, have been in touch with Odell and his representatives on the matter. They are cooperating with the proper authorities to appropriately address the situation. So that's a spokesperson from the Cleveland Browns just about a half hour ago.
Well, here's the thing: is there's something that we all got to understand about Odell. We could disagree with the fact that he could get arrested. We could disagree with the NCAA rule about the money and everything like that. Here's the thing that's the problem with Odell. He has to realize that not everything is about him. Does he realize the kind of situation he's putting those kids in? Okay, he could get the kid in trouble. Giving him money. Wait till after the kid's out of school. Okay, wait until Joe Burrow or Rashard Lawrence or any of those other players, Justin Jefferson. Wait till any of those players get drafted and take him out to a nice dinner or buy him something sick. Buy him a pair of Yeezys or something like that. Buy him Jordans. Okay, buy them a Rolex or something like that. That's fine because then he's not a college athlete anymore. and the kid won't get in trouble for it. But he's a college athlete still. Why would you put the kid in that position? You can't do stuff like that. It drives me nuts. All right, let's go to the news. Interim Big J journalist Evan Mazza here on a Thursday. This is ridiculous, Evan. I mean, Odell can't keep the attention away from himself and can't make the conscious decision to not do this? I mean, it blows my mind.
I think with Odell, now I do think, I said before, after the season ended, Cleveland was going to make a decision on Landry and Beckham. Landry, I'm very interested to see. I was very interested to see after the season ended what would happen to Landry and Beckham, if one of them was traded or whatever. Now I'm very curious to see what Cleveland will do with Beckham again. Will he be traded in the draft? Now there's no John Dorsey anymore. They still got to find a GM. They still got to find a head coach. I'm sorry. Wow, I goofed. They found a head coach. They still need to find a general manager. I'll be interested to see what Cleveland's decision is on Beckham, and still Landry, but Beckham now even more after this. In terms of the money, with the police officer slapping him on the butt thing, this is just, to me, it's just Beckham. It's Beckham doing something where he just didn't. I think he got a little overhead himself. And he just wasn't using his head. I mean, I think he just wasn't using his head, personally.
And there are going to be people that are going to say, "Oh, well, come on, what did Odell really do wrong? He didn't do wrong. He didn't do any harm to anybody." That's not the point. We could argue all day about whether or not he was doing any harm, or whether he really did anything wrong, or whether it's weak of the cop to want to charge him.
Carlos Beltran is stepping down as Mets manager. I'm sorry to cut you off, but breaking news. Carlos Beltran is stepping down as Mets manager. Per Ken Rosenthal, He is officially stepping down.
Wow.
I told you. I said before. I was talking to you during commercial break. I said I know we're cutting off on the Beckham.
That was kind of expected, right?
Well, I know we're cutting off on the Beckham thing. We'll get back to it. This was expected to me. I felt like this was inevitable. I felt like this was going to happen. I think if I'm the Mets. Now, Beltran stepped down. I'm sure the Mets had some. This wasn't just Carlos Beltran saying, hey guys, I'll step down for you. No, the Mets, I'm sure, talked to him. They probably told him, hey, this is the right decision we got to do for the organization. I think for the Mets, this was something I think they had. If I was the Mets, yes, I would have done this. I would have said, hey, Carlos, we're going to move in a different direction. I think this is something they had to do.
Should hire A.J. Hinch.
No, yeah, right. AJ Hinch is also Brody Wagner's best friend, so whoops.
Is that actually really?
I think he was his best man at his wedding. I think AJ.
Wow.
I think they were like best mans at each other's wedding.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh yeah. That's why I kept.
Wow.
Yeah. So Carlos Beltran.
Okay.
Carlos Beltran.
I mean, this was expected. The optics for the Mets wouldn't have been good if they kept him around.
No, and listen, there was an understandable reason for keeping him, because the Mets could keep him and say, they could keep him and say, okay, hey, MLB didn't rule him in the punishment. They didn't punish him. We're just going to move forward with Carlos Beltran as the manager of the baseball team, and we're going to move forward. I think the Mets realized. And again, it's why I do think this is the correct decision to make, and why I think the Mets. If I was the Mets, I would have moved on, because, like you said, if there's too much stain right now, this whole thing with the sign stealing has completely taken over baseball. With 30 some odd days to go until spring training, with 2 months to go until opening day, this has completely taken over the game.
Right.
If Carlos Beltran. Whether the Mets are cheating or not cheating with Beltran as the manager, just the sight of Beltran managing the Mets will give people in the media, give fans that question of, wow, what's Beltran doing? Is there something the Mets are doing? Just the image of that, the stain of it will carry the Mets if they would have kept Beltran, even if they're not cheating, which most chances they probably weren't going to because hey, the Mets are already caught. I mean, the Beltran was already caught with the Astros,
right.
So the Mets, I'm sure, would have told Beltran, if they would have kept him, don't do this. For goodness sake, don't do this. You got to keep our word. Keep your word that you won't do this. But it doesn't. But again, just the stigma of this whole thing with the Astros and now the Red Sox and Cora and Hinch and Jeff Uno and now Beltran. They would have carried over throughout the season. The Mets could win 90 games, and people will still say, what's going on? They get to October. Say they get to October, make the playoffs. What's going on? Say they win the World Series. What's going on over there? Well, Beltran's the manager. He was in Houston. What's going on over there? Hey, I mean, you got some people, including myself, saying, hey, Beltran was special advice to the Yankees. Did anything happen over there with the Yankees when he was there?
Right.
So they had to do this just to clean it up, just to move forward, move on, find a different manager, and just keep the noise. The Mets are so used to noise and just stupid stuff.
It's made a lot of sense.
It
made a lot of sense.
It just had to happen.
If Beltran lied to the Mets, which it sounds like he did. It sounds like he told them he had nothing to do with it, and then once he was given immunity by Major League Baseball, he said, okay, here's the truth. And then the Mets had a decision to make, and I think they made the right one. They can't have that. Again, even if it's just for the optics, even if it just doesn't look good, if it's not for the right reason, I don't care. It was the right decision to make.
They just had to, just for the sake of this team and for the sake of I don't think this is the end game of this cheating thing. I think this is going to go to a lot of teams in baseball. Maybe even the Mets. This might go to the Mets too, for all I know. Like I said, I said before, I wouldn't be surprised if the Mets in some form or another over the last several years have been caught doing this. It wouldn't shock me at all.
No, probably not.
It wouldn't shock me that every team in baseball is doing it.
Sure.
It's just about this whole situation right now, what it's escalated to. The Mets had no choice. To me, they had zero choice but to do this. If I was in charge, put me in the Mets' shoes, I would have done the same thing. Move on, just and find a different manager. I mean, yeah, it's a tough process because and the Red Sox are going through it too, and the Astros are going through it too. 30 days or so left until spring training. 2.5 months to go in the regular season before the start of the regular season. It's not something ideal that you should do for a baseball team, but you have to do it. With the way this whole thing has gone on, you have to do it.
I agree.
And just to keep, this is the Met team that has potential to do some good things this year. You don't want that stigma of a possibility of people questioning you and questioning if you're actually cheating and stealing signs to carry over to the season. Especially if you, again, I don't care if you, again, win or lose, cheating is cheating, and you should get the same punishment that the Astros got because Major League Baseball has already set the foundation for what the punishment will be. So win or lose could be the Orioles, the Rays, whatever, Marlins, whatever. The Mets. It was the right call for them to just say, let's just move forward. Let's just put it away.
That made sense.
Let's just keep going forward, and let's not have this follow us throughout the course of the season, especially if we win.
Right.
So
You're
curious.
fired up about this.
I hate the fact that this carried to the Mets because the Mets hired Beltran.
Because of course it did.
Of course it did. Of course this whole thing involved a guy who the Mets just hired as their manager.
Right.
Of course it did.
It's frustrating.
Right?
You're right.
Of course. And this isn't even the Mets. Trust me, there are so many things in baseball that are the Mets' fault. There's so many things that are the Mets' fault.
Like their own failure.
Yeah, right. This isn't the Mets' fault. They brought in Beltran, not knowing what any of the investigation will lead to, not knowing if Beltran's going to be involved, not really thinking Beltran's ever going to be involved in this.
See, this is why we can't have nice things.
This is what. Yeah, right.
That's what it feels like.
I mean, it's just, well, here's the thing. I can't have nice things because I do think the Mets made the correct call here. I do think the Mets made the correct call.
I agree, but
I'm curious to see.
It's rough.
It's rough. It's a terrible situation. I feel bad that the Mets fell into this. But to me, they made the right call here because now it's gone. Now the eyes that were on them, gone. Now it's gone. You can get away from us now. You can get away from us now.
We're good.
We're good. Okay, Beltran's out. We decided to move forward. He's not going to be our manager. We're going to find someone different. Well, maybe Buck Showalter or Dusty Baker or John Gibbons, some of the guys that I'm sure the Astros are interviewing, the Mets will interview. Maybe they look at Joe Espada too, because I know the Mets had interest in Espada before. Well, then again, he's the Astros bench coach, so I guess
we'll see.
Can.
We'll see about that.
We'll see who the new Mets manager will be.
I'm with you 100%. The optics needed to get better for the Mets. They did.
Right.
But anyway, back to...
If you want to get back to backup, we can back to backup.
I mean, this is... It's not that hard to not be an idiot. Like, he's just a terrible decision maker. Like, if you're the Browns today, how do you feel comfortable? You have a terrible decision maker in Baker Mayfield, another terrible decision maker in Odell, and you just hired Kevin Stefanski, who may or may not be able to curb that a little bit. I mean, that's terrible. Who smacks a police officer on the ass? Who does that? And who gives out money to college athletes when everybody knows that they can't take a dime from you?
Well, I'll tell you what, that's also bad timing because again, we're gonna, and I do think it's a good thing that we're about to happen with the NCAA allowing college football athletes to get endorsement deals and money. I do think that is a good thing, but the timing of Beckham doing that is not ideal.
Right. I mean, you can argue the rule all you want, but the point is the rule exists, and Odell made that decision anyway. Like, this is the classic example of Odell feeling like the rules don't apply to him. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Like, you're celebrating. First of all, why do you have to take the attention away from LSU and draw it all to you? And secondly, how do you make those decisions and put those kids in a bad spot? You think you're helping them, but you're not. It's terrible.
Like I said, I'm curious to see what. Before the season, after the season ended, I was thinking, okay, maybe Beckham or Landry will be out. At least one of those two.
Yeah.
Because again, Landry had arguments with the coaching staff.
I would honestly, if I'm Cleveland,
I'm curious.
I would really, really entertain trading Odell.
Well, we'll see. I'm curious to see what the new GM. Again, I wouldn't do what the Browns have done, like the Jets have done, where they bring in a head coach before the GM. But I'm curious to see what Stefanski thinks of Beckham. I'm sure Stefanski knows Beckham. Hey, Beckham's a talented football player. I'm curious, but it'll come down to the GM. What does the GM want to do with this football team? What does the GM want to do with Beckham, Landry, et cetera, et cetera? The Browns are good enough to me to be a lot better than what they were this past year. I'm curious to see what the GM will have in mind with this.
We'll see.
I'm curious to see. It's just
it's a mess. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like, you can't make those decisions. I don't know. Whatever. That's the news. Interim Big J journalist Evan Mazza here on a Thursday.
And here we go. Three now. Think about it. We are now, and because of this whole thing, because of the whole cheating thing with baseball, we are now in January 16th, and there are 3 baseball jobs available. 3. And the funny thing is, despite everything, these are 3 good jobs to get. The Red Sox, while they had a disappointing year this past year, are still a good job. It's the Boston Red Sox. They've won championships. They're a great organization. They are a good organization. They still have a talented team with a good offense. It's a good job to have.
The Astros are phenomenal.
The Astros, despite everything, are still a really good, talented baseball team. They've been to the World Series a couple of times. They've been to the LCS. That's a great job to have. The Mets are a young team on the rise that are looking to build off last year, have the Rookie of the Year at first base, have the 2 back-to-back Cy Young Award winner as your ace. You've got good young players like Jeff McNeil, etc. That's a good job to have. So, yes, what has happened with Cora and Hinch and now Beltran is unfortunate and sad, and because, again, with this whole thing that has rocked baseball, for any managerial candidates that are still out there, like Showalter, etc., these are 3 decent jobs to have.
Right.
I mean, this isn't a either job is bad. These are still, because again, these are still teams that are talented, that are really good. And obviously, if whoever takes over the Astros and the Red Sox,
no, they're decent jobs. I mean, it's not gonna be easy because you're kind of in a bad spot.
Well, again,
here,
that's what we talk about, weathering the storm, right? Whoever takes over the Astros and the Red Sox, especially the Astros, has to be good enough to weather the storm. True, 100%. But these, again, talent-wise, baseball-wise, wins and losses-wise, for the regular season, these are not bad jobs to have. And I'm very interested to see what these 3 teams, the Astros, Red Sox,
there's a lot of free agents still available.
There's still guys. Yeah, look, I'm not interested. I'm now looking at Nicholas Castellanos. I'm very curious to see what happens to him. I think he's a real good baseball player. Now that Josh Donaldson's now signed with the Twins, I'm looking at Castellanos. I like Castellanos a lot.
We'll see.
I'm looking at Cubs. I'm looking at Cubs, Rangers, etc. I think Castellanos has a lot of nice options.
All right, hour 3, next.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Worldwide Sports Radio presents the Haystack Show with Mike Guido.
And here we go. It is hour number 3. And it's the Haystack and the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, WorldwideSportsRadio.com. Mike Guido, Evan Mazza, my producer. It is great to have you in here on a Thursday. Loaded today. Buy or sell is right around the corner. We were loaded today. I was able to rank the potential Super Bowl matchups.
So what was it? Wait, what was your third one again? Titans.
So I had Titans Packers at 4. I had Titans 49ers at 3.
Congratulations to the Titans and the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, probably. No, honestly, that is probably what's going to happen. We're going to get the third best matchup again. Ridiculous.
I'd like to say
Chiefs Packers was 2, and then Chiefs Niners was 1.
Obviously just broke a few minutes ago. Beltran and the Mets have agreed to mutually part ways. Beltran no longer the manager of the Mets.
Right.
Some statements today from both the Mets, Jeff Wilpon and Brodie Van Wagenen, and Beltran also came out with statements. So here's Jeff Wilpon and Brodie Van Wagenen. We met with Carlos last night and again this morning agreed to mutually part ways. This was not an easy decision considering the circumstances. It became clear to all parties that it was not in anyone's best interest for Carlos to move forward as manager of the Mets. We believe that Carlos was honest and forthcoming with us. We are confident that this will not be the final chapter in his baseball career. We remain excited about the talent on this team and are committed to reaching their goals of winning now and in the future. Now, this is Carlos. Now that's Brodie Van Wagenen and Jeff Wilpon. Here's Carlos Beltran's statement. At a meeting this morning with Jeff and Brodie, we've mutually agreed to part ways. I'm grateful to them for giving me the opportunity, but we agreed this decision is in the best interest of the team. I couldn't let myself be a distraction for the team. I wish the entire organization success in the future. So there we go. They decided to mutually part ways.
Crazy.
The Mets felt they had to do it, and here we are. The Mets
and of course, the Mets got sucked into it. Of course they did.
Of course, yeah.
That's awesome.
We hired Bill. I mean, no one thought.
It falls right in line with what the Mets are as an organization.
But wait, see, hold on a minute.
A mess.
You see, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, though.
I'll tell you what.
If they if they kept Beltran for the entire year, you could make that case. Well, this is typical Mets. They're keeping him around. This is typical Mets. It's just another show. It's going to continue. Typical Mets. You can't really say typical Mets here because the Mets probably made the decision that will keep them out of this limelight. That takes them officially out of this. The cheating thing will carry on with the Red Sox and will carry on forever, especially with the Astros.
Yeah.
With the Mets, they were kind of all of a sudden saying, "Wait a minute." Carlos Beltran is your manager. He's involved.
Yeah, I don't see a situation where
this now officially gets them away from this situation, which again is one of the reasons why. Yes, if I was in their shoes, I would decide to do this.
Yeah, I really don't see a situation where the Mets are at fault here. I just don't.
It's not their fault.
unless they hired him knowing about this and then fired him because they didn't like the backlash. Then, all right, that's not a great look for the Mets, but either way. All right. So plenty of stuff to go over today. Let's start hour 3 with this. Okay, so there are times in life where the environment you're in matters more than anything else. Okay, is your household healthy? Do you have parents who encourage you? Does your partner support you and drive you? Okay, same thing goes for your job. Does your boss promote a solid workspace? Does the office feel like an office, or does it feel safer and less stressful? The production will always increase when the morale is better. Okay, any business owner will tell you that. The factory is faster and more productive when all the machines are oiled. Okay, the Tennessee Titans are that well-oiled machine right now. They are the Washington Nationals of the NFL. Okay, they've made playoff appearances, but they've had heartbreak, and they've always fallen short, and they've had that kind of adversity. But this time feels different. Why? Culture. Okay, Mike Vrabel is the sole best motivator in the NFL, and there is no second place. There isn't. Okay, during the broadcast of the game the other night, I heard from one of the announcers that the Titans have taken the reflection of their head coach. And they absolutely have. They absolutely have. Tennessee is fiery. They're hungry. They're playing with more passion than anyone in football right now. I mean, it's not even close. And that's the most important part to their success. Okay, this is the best part of the Titans, actually. Okay, this has nothing to do with talent. The Titans have some, but they are not a roster that is just flooded with gifted athletes, okay, or insane football players. They have one gifted athlete, Derrick Henry. That's their guy. But their quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, I mean, he has a combined 160 passing yards over the first 2 playoff games. He's thrown 160 yards. He's thrown for under 100 yards in 2 straight playoff games, and they're 2-0. Like, they're not overflowing with talent. Tannehill is not torching anybody. Okay, he's asked to make 7 throws a game, and he does it. That's all he asked for. Okay, but the Titans are not blowing anyone away with their talent. Okay, they're out-harding you. They're playing more physical. They have unmatched passion. Okay, this Titans team has a championship feel to it. They do. Okay, also, think about this. Have we noticed that the Titans locker room is extremely quiet? That doesn't mean they don't have personalities, but their locker room is quiet. You don't really hear from them. Okay, the entire organization is quiet. They're so quiet we forget about them most of the time. Seriously. There's the Titans. We forget about the Titans a lot. We just do. Okay, so public service announcement to all dysfunctional teams and obnoxious players. Take note. Take note of that. The Titans have taken out the Patriots and the Ravens, both on the road, back to back, because of their building. Okay, the Titans aren't more talented than Baltimore. Definitely not. It's not even close. Like, if you look at Baltimore and Tennessee's talent, it is not even close. The discrepancy is unbelievable. Okay, they're not more talented than New England. Healthy energy equals success. It's that simple. It really is. The Titans have healthy energy in the building. Ask any coach or player. If practice is energetic and guys are picking each other up and they're dapping up each other and all that stuff, the feeling on game day translates. It does. Mike Vrabel is the dad. He's the dad that thrusts you into the real world, and he says, go get him. And then when you do go get him, he's right there to pat you on the back. He's right there to give you a high five. He's right there for you. Okay, I've been told multiple times by multiple people that I'm a better broadcaster when my energy shows. Okay, that's lesson 1 in sports radio, is to never let your energy waver. Never let it waver. Well, the energy is there because of the environment I'm in. Okay, the people I work for believe in me. The energy in the building is good. Okay, all of that helps me become a better broadcaster and put out a better product. It's that simple. Okay, think about this. The nearly divorced couple usually put their kids in therapy faster. Okay, that's not by coincidence. Dysfunctional household normally translates to instability later. Okay, the dysfunctional family, it weighs on their kids' minds. They go to therapy. They have trouble in relationships. They start flunking school. It's just the way the mind works. That's what happens in life. Okay, kids don't, some people don't handle that stuff well. Okay, the more dysfunction you have in your family, the harder it is on your kids. It's harder for the people that you have to lead. Okay, it's perfectly normal. It is not anything to be ashamed of. Okay, I've gone through it. I'm sure Evan's gone through it. Everybody's gone through it. Everybody in the world has gone through that. So let's recognize that the Titans are on a super run right now, and it's going to take something serious to stop them. Seriously, great culture like this is incredibly hard to stop. Mike Vrabel has put together a feel in that building that translates to incredible production on the field. And it shows. Okay, what the Titans have going right now is unbelievable. They're very Washington Nationals. They're underdog. Nobody believes in them. Great culture. all of that stuff, and it's going to be really hard for teams in the playoffs to stop. All right, I want to shift to this because this coaching hire that was made really does intrigue me. So Kevin Stefanski, the old offensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings, got hired by the Cleveland Browns as their head coach. Okay, and here's the thing about this. I did this a couple of days ago where I ranked, because the Browns interviewed 8 guys. They interviewed, and I'm going to take out Mike McCarthy because Mike McCarthy got hired by the Cowboys. But, so out of the 7 other guys that they hired, that they interviewed, Kevin Stefanski, I think, ranked 5th on that list. To me, this is not a great hire. Okay? Yeah, I graded him. I really didn't know who was the best fit, so I graded him. I graded him by accolades, right? So the 7 guys they interviewed were, obviously, Kevin Stefanski, Josh McDaniels, Matt Rule, Kevin Stefanski, Josh McDaniels, Robert Saleh, Greg Roman, Eric Bieniemy, Jim Schwartz, and Brian Dable. They interviewed all of those guys, and I graded them 1 through 25. So that 5 categories, 1 through 5 in each category. Leadership, scheme, accolades, player development, and adaptability. Those 5 things matter as a head coach. And Kevin Stefanski, out of all of those categories, ranked 5th out of 7 coaches. This, to me, is not a great hire. Okay, here's the thing where I want to take away from this. Okay, Kevin Stefanski in the press conference, he doesn't sound like a football coach. Okay, he sounds timid. He sounds inexperienced. He sounds a little lost. Okay, and I could be totally wrong on this, but he doesn't sound like he really understands head coaching. It just doesn't sound like it. Okay, here's what I want you to consider. Think of all the head coaching hires that were made this past offseason, right? Ron Rivera. When Ron Rivera got hired by the Washington Nationals, when you get hired and you're in the press conference, and I understand that it's made to make you look good and everything like that, but your personality shows in those things. Ron Rivera, you could see Ron Rivera, okay? Ron Rivera with military background, you could see he sounded like a disciplinarian because he is a disciplinarian. His personality showed in the press conference. Military background, military family. He's had to deal with dysfunction before. He coached with Cam Newton. Didn't allow any of that crap. I mean, you heard that from Ron Rivera. Okay, Mike McCarthy with the Cowboys. Okay, what Cowboy fans were afraid of, he was rigid, he's not likable, he's not going to be able to move, all of that stuff. And in the press conference, he didn't sound that way. He was funny, he was kind to reporters. The whole time he spent talking about how he spent all this time on reflection, how he was going to adapt to today's NFL, how he completely changed his mind on things. He was going to embrace analytics, all of those things. Mike McCarthy sounded like a head football coach. He did. And that's what got Cowboy fans hooked. Mike McCarthy was never Cowboy fans' first choice. But a lot of Cowboy fans are hooked on him now because he sounds like a football coach. Okay, seriously, even the guys that don't have experience. Matt Rule, Joe Judge, who just got hired. Okay, I live in New York. New York media was going crazy over Joe Judge at the press conference because you could feel his personality. He feels like a football coach. Hard-nosed, physical football, old-school style of play. We are going to out-heart everybody. I mean, people are going to run through a brick wall for Joe Judge. He sounded like a movie head coach. Seriously, I said that. He sounds like a guy who's playing a head coach in a movie, and that's fantastic. You can feel the football coach. Matt Rule sounded fantastic. I'm so happy to be working for this organization. We're going to build something great. I'm going to have this plan and all of this stuff. It sounded like Matt Rule had a direction. Matt Rule sounded great. He was encouraging. It was loud. You could band behind him. Matt Rule sounded great for Carolina. And then you heard Kevin Stefanski in the Browns press conference, and it was very, I'll be working closely with Baker, And I can't wait. I think I can't wait to get to work with Baker. I'm very lucky to get to work with him, and we'll see where it goes. What? So you're telling me that Joe Judge, Matt Rule, Mike McCarthy, and Ron Rivera all sounded crazy, enthusiastic, the same strict message, disciplinarian, sounded like football coaches. And Kevin Stefanski sounded timid. Kevin Stefanski sounded like he's going into a locker room with a bunch of guys with big personalities. Odell's going to go get arrested. With Odell and Baker Mayfield and Jarvis Landry and Myles Garrett, he's going to step into that locker room, and he's going to have to be in charge of all those guys? I don't see it. It sounds like he's going to go into that locker room, and he's going to get trampled. That's not what the Browns are looking for. Okay? And listen, here's the thing about Kevin Stefanski that people like. He's extremely smart. NFL people love him because he's advanced, he's into analytics, he understands today's game, he can develop players, he's schematically good. I'm sure Kevin Stefanski's a really smart guy. I'm sure he's a smart football coach. But the leadership aspect of it, I never saw it. And that was the thing that I graded him on. Really good schematically, really good player development. He sounds like he's a good football mind, but not a great leader. It doesn't sound like he could be the general of an army. And that's the fear I have with Kevin Stefanski. He's going to have to go into the Browns locker room and lay down the law. And I'm not sure he can do that. So, again, I'm not in love with the hire. Stefanski doesn't sound like a head coach. Right now, that's the coaching hire that I like the least out of all of them. I was not in love with this. I am not in love with the Stefanski hire. He needed to sound like a football coach. He needed to sell Browns fans. He needed to sell the organization. He needed to sell the players. This is where we're going to go with this. And he didn't do that. He found it sounded very timid, kind of nervous. Not what you want. Not what you want as the Browns head coach. All right. Right around the corner, buy or sell. We do it every single Thursday. That's coming up next. It's the Haystack on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You're listening to the Haystack Show on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It'd be nice if my mic was on. Thanks a lot.
Turn my mic on!
That was ridiculous.
Turn my mic on! If it helps you, I didn't turn my mic on either, so you can smile for that.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Good to have you back. Haystack, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Covered a lot today. I think the Chiefs and 49ers, that's the best Super Bowl matchup that we could be hoping for this weekend. All right, we do this every single Thursday. We play buy or sell.
Sell.
Here we go.
All right, so buy or sell. Derrick Henry, the last time he faced the Kansas City Chiefs, he actually rushed for over 180 yards in the Titans' win over Kansas City. So once again on Sunday, will Derrick Henry rush for 180 yards against the Kansas City Chiefs? Buy or sell?
I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to sell that. I think it's a lot to ask for, but I do believe I think Derrick Henry could get over 150. 180 is a lot. I will say, though, if Chris Jones doesn't play for Kansas City, that is going to make a huge difference in the running game. It's going to make a huge difference in the running game for Tennessee. I'm going to say no. I'm going to sell it, but I don't think it's impossible. I don't.
Buy or sell. The Derrick Henry will leave the Tennessee Titans at free agency. We'll keep around with Derrick Henry for a bit.
I'm going to sell that too. I think the Titans are going to try and bring him back. I've actually read a lot about that. There are some rumblings where there are situations that Derrick Henry could leave the Titans. After what's going on in the postseason now, they're not going to let him go. They're going to pay him, and he's going to become the highest paid running back in the NFL. He's absolutely earning his paycheck, and he's earning his value. I mean, seriously, Derrick Henry should. The Titans should definitely sign back Derrick Henry, even if it is for a little bit too much money, because he's proving his value right now. That I do not think that he leaves. I'm going to sell that.
The New York Mets will hire someone from the inside, so say Luis Rojas, to be their new manager. So someone from the inside to be the new manager.
I'm going to sell that as well. I think that there are way too many decent candidates. There are way too many good candidates for the job that are going to be outside of the organization. Buck Showalter, we named a bunch of them before. Buck Showalter, Dusty Baker, maybe one of the guys that they interviewed already. Guys like Eduardo Perez. I think that a lot of those guys are going to be in contention for that job. I would be very surprised if they hired somebody in-house.
Out of the three teams, the Astros, Mets, and Red Sox, who are now have managerial vacancies before spring training even begins, before spring training is about to begin, despite everything that's going on with the Astros and the fact that the Astros are in the centerpiece of all of this, they are still the best out of the three in terms of the best situation for a manager.
That the Astros are the best situation?
Yes.
That's a good question. I'm going to say, yeah, I'll buy that. Because I think the team is clearly the best. Right, the Astros, it kind of gets lost in all of this. The Astros are still a phenomenal baseball team. They really are. Now, do I think they're going to be as good as they were last year? No, because they've lost a couple of pieces. They've lost Garrett Cole. I think they are struggling for starting pitching. They lost Will Harris out of the bullpen. They did lose a couple of pieces, so I don't think that they're going to be as good as they were last year. However, I think when you look at the Red Sox, they're on a decline. They're starting to sell off some of their players. They just fired Dave Dombrowski. They're bringing in a new GM with Chaim Bloom. Their situation is kind of up in the air. You don't really know what direction they're going to be in. And the Mets are the Mets. I mean, it's just, you know that there's going to be some dysfunction. You know there's going to be some restriction with the front office. The Mets are not a bad situation because they have the image of being up and coming, but it's also the Mets, so you never know if that's actually happening. I would say, yeah, I'll buy them. I don't think that the Astros situation is great because there's a lot of noise surrounding that franchise right now. But as far as the team is concerned, clearly the best situation right now. I'll buy it.
More Major League Baseball teams will end up being involved in the sign stealing, in this Major League Baseball sign stealing investigation, buy or sell. More of them will come out. This is going to surprise you. I'm going to say sell.
Sell.
I don't want to be naive because I hate looking like that. But at the very same time, I mean, I really don't think that this is going to be a multi-team thing. I don't even know if this is a multi-person thing. Okay, this sounds to me like the common denominator for this cheating scandal was Alex Cora. Alex Cora was there with the Astros when they did it, and then Alex Cora was there with the Red Sox when they did it. This might just be an Alex Cora thing. So I'm going to sell it. I'm going to say sell.
I'll tell you what is so interesting is that apparently the Astros cheating might have gone all the way back to 2014, 2015, and if that's the case, that's before Alex Cora got there. That's before Cora got the common denominator would be Jeff Luhnow or even A.J. Hinch, because Hinch got there in 2015. So if it does go all the way back to then, that's before Cora got there. So again, there's still a lot of questions for me personally about everything that's going on here. So buy or sell. We'll get to the NFL now. Buy or sell the conference title games. Last time the Packers and Niners met, it wasn't good for the Green Bay. They lost 37-8. Rodgers 20-33 for 104 yards and a touchdown. So buy or sell. He'll throw for over 250 and 3 touchdowns against San Francisco on Sunday.
Aaron Rodgers will?
Aaron Rodgers.
So 250 and 3 touchdowns.
Yes.
I'm going to sell it. No. I think it is 250 is very obtainable. 3 touchdowns I don't think is. This is a Niners defense that is playing incredibly well, even in the secondary where I think they could definitely use an extra corner. But Richard Sherman is having a really nice year. Devontae Adams and Richard Sherman is going to be a really nice matchup. I'm assuming Devontae Adams will probably catch a touchdown. Maybe he'll catch 2. But those perimeter players really scare me, Evan. Like I've been saying this for a long time. Yeah, and you know this. I've been saying it for a long time. I caught on to this before most people did, that the Packers really do not have a lot of talent at wide receiver. They do not have the perimeter players to do that. So 3 touchdowns I actually think is a lot to ask for Aaron Rodgers. I'm going to sell it.
Last time also in that same game, Garoppolo went 14-20 for 253 and 2 touchdowns. So Garoppolo will replicate that same performance by throwing for 250 and 2 touchdowns against the Packers.
I'm going to buy that. I do. I think I'm going to buy that.
Buy.
He'll throw for at least 250 yards. I think that's very possible, and he'll probably throw for 2 touchdowns. The Packers are going to hammer down on trying to stop the run for the Niners. The Niners are going to try and commit to the run early, and I think that right now, the Packers, their game plan is going to be Tevin Coleman, Raheem Mostert, Matt Breida, they are not going to beat us. We're going to force Jimmy Garoppolo and those wide receivers to beat us. And I think at that point, Jimmy G is going to be forced to throw the ball more. 250, two touchdowns is actually very realistic to me. I buy that.
Last time, again, another rematch from early in the regular season is Chiefs-Titans. Titans beat the Chiefs 35-32 last time. We mentioned Derrick Henry's performance. Pat Mahomes, the last time they met in the loss, went 36 of 50 for 446 and 3 touchdowns against a really good Titans defense.
That was Mahomes.
I said Pat Mahomes, right?
Wow, yeah.
That was Mahomes. He will throw for over 400 yards again against the Titans the second time around.
I'll buy it. I am going to buy the big game from Mahomes again because this Titans defense is really good in particular areas. I think they could use another pass rusher. I think that they might struggle getting after Patrick Mahomes. I don't see them getting any more than 2 sacks on the day, and I think that the strength of the Chiefs' offense. I don't really think this. The strength of the Chiefs' offense is throwing the football. Okay, everybody knows that. So they aren't going to try and run the ball. They're going to have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, all of those wide receivers, all those weapons. That's how the Chiefs are going to try and win this football game. So I do think that 400-plus yards is likely for Patrick Mahomes.
Barcel, the winner of the NFC Championship game between the Niners and the Packers, will win the Super Bowl.
I'm going to sell that. I don't think it's that simple.
Sell.
I think the Niners probably are my favorite to win the Super Bowl as of this point. I am not a huge fan of the Packers. I am not. And by the way, again, these AFC teams, the Titans and the Chiefs, are not teams that you can sneeze at. So I am not going to make it that simple. I do not believe it'll be just as easy as, NFC Championship game means the winner of the Super Bowl comes out of that game. I'm going to sell that.
We've seen it before with offensive coordinators like Gary Kubiak with the Ravens in 2014 where they get fired from their head coaching job and they go become an offensive coordinator for a year with a team and then go become a head coach again. Could be the same case with Jason Garrett as he's interviewing for the Giants offensive coordinator job. So buy or sell, Jason Garrett will offensive coordinator a team this season and then become a head coach again the following year in 2021.
No, I'm going to sell that. I think he will become an offensive coordinator this year. I haven't seen anything on the Giants' job, but I think the Giants' job is going to end up being his. Jason Garrett will be an offensive coordinator this year, but I do not believe that it'll be a 1-year turnaround for him to be a head coach again. People have seen what he's done in Dallas, and they might have respect for that, but I think he has to have a little bit of time under his belt as an offensive coordinator to have other organizations buy into the fact that he's evolved. Maybe he's improved as a coach. It's not going to be a quick turnaround. He might be a head coach again somewhere, but not after 1 year of being a coordinator again.
One of these 4 teams in the conference title game will miss the postseason next year. Buy or sell?
I will buy that. But listen, we always get this, right? We always get this. I mean, there was one team in last year's conference championship games that didn't even make the playoffs this year, and it was the Rams. The Rams missed the playoffs. So I think it's very possible for that to happen. I think Tennessee could. And I honestly, Green Bay and San Francisco. I think Kansas City could be pretty safe. The AFC's
how much of a step back would San Fran make this next year? That's a big step
well,
back.
I don't know. That's the thing. We're going to have to see how they draft, how free agency hits, all of those things. But I'm going to buy that. I think it's definitely possible for that to happen. All right, give me one more.
All right, well, we'll kind of go back to that kind of question with the wild card round. So the teams that got eliminated in the wild card round were the Patriots, the Bills, the Saints, and the Eagles. Buy or sell, one of those 4 teams will play in the conference title game next year. So that's the Patriots, the Bills, the Saints, and the Eagles.
Buy. I'm going to buy that. Buy. I think the Saints have a real good shot next year. Again, this is all kind of speculatory because we have to wait for how they draft. We have to wait for what happens in free agency, all of those things. But I like the Saints. I like the Saints' chances. I also think the Eagles back healthy, I think could make another splash next year as well. I do not think that this is impossible. I really do not. I think Buffalo's going to grow as a team. New England is New England, so I'm not going to completely rule them out. But, New England is probably the team I have the least faith in because clearly Brady's getting older. We don't even know if Brady's going to be back next year. We'll see how that goes, but I'm going to buy that. I think one of those teams will probably end up in the conference championship next year as we speak. All right. So that's buy or sell. Every single Thursday we play it. Evan loves it. It's his favorite game.
And we did it twice this week.
You're welcome.
Extra happy.
That's right. Well, this is the week after your birthday. So there really wasn't any reason for it.
I got it.
Here, this is my birthday present to you. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
All right, that does it for us. Evan Mazza, my producer. I'm Mike Guido. This is the Haystack on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Great stuff. We'll see you tomorrow.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.